Good afternoon from Los Angeles and welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Micron, Facebook, as well as Charles Schwab. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Coram here, joined by Ken Shreve, and we saw strong gains across the board. The Nasdaq up about 0.7%, the S&P and Dow logging gains of about 8 to 0.9% apiece, all on news that we have a phase one trade deal agreement. What are your thoughts, Ken?
Well, we're still waiting on President Trump to sign off on this deal, and we don't know when that's going to happen. But yeah, pretty solid performance for the stock market. It was kind of an interesting session. The Dow rose as much as 1.1%, and then it backed way off highs in the morning. And then news right around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time that a phase one trade deal has been reached in principle, lifted stocks off lows again. So new highs for the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500, and apparently what they're talking about with this phase one trade deal is that there won't be tariffs that go into effect Sunday. And they're also talking about possible rollbacks of prior tariffs. So this is potentially good news for the market, and no surprise that we saw new highs today for the three major stock indexes. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, but we will definitely keep an eye on that for you. But let's take a look at a few individual names, starting off with Micron, which gained about 3.5% today in heavy volume. And of course, the chip sector has been one of the main sectors impacted by the different trade war headlines. So Micron breaking out today amid the positive news, and we have a cup with handled base here, Ken. And it looks like, again, volume was pretty significant on this move. Yeah, so the semiconductor stocks have been running higher for a while now. We've had a lot of breakouts in the sector, whether it's chip equipment firms or chip makers or even, chip designers. So Micron is actually one of the last stocks to break out here, but nonetheless, it was a powerful breakout. And what's interesting about Micron, first of all, it ended the session still in buy range from that 50 buy point, but they report earnings next week. So for those that don't own the stock yet, even though it's in buy range, probably don't want to buy the stock here, but you could consider an option trade. So Micron's going to be a focus of the earnings preview column tomorrow. We're going to take a look at a call option trade. Actually, some pretty compelling trades with strike prices right around 52 that expire in January, so you got a little time for it to work, but kind of low risk, potentially high reward trade. So we'll be writing about Micron for earnings preview. All right, sounds like a plan. Yeah, make sure you check out Ken's article, his earnings preview column. All right, everyone, moving on. Let's take a look at Charles Schwab, which also posted a gain today, over 3%, above average turnover, clearing a shorter consolidation here, but it has seen really strong gains since the beginning of October. Yeah, this is a stock that's trading right around that buy point of 51.07, it looks like, and financial stocks really broadly higher today. Not only semiconductor stocks, but the financial stocks had a big rise in the 10-year Treasury yield, which was a little bit counterintuitive because we had a very dovish statement from the Fed yesterday. You had a big rise in interest rates today. I mean, the Fed said yesterday that the Fed funds rate, they expect it staying right where it is for all of 2020. So it's kind of interesting to see money flowing out of the bond market. Money flowed out of bonds and went into stocks, so that's not surprising. But the rise in the 10-year Treasury yield is up about 10 or 11 basis points at last check. So yeah, we definitely wanted to give Schwab a shout out with our upcoming Best Online Brokers Report that we have annually. Yeah, that's going to be coming out in late January, and I'll be handling the front page story for the Best Online Brokers special section. And of course, Schwab made a huge acquisition not that long ago, acquiring TD Ameritrade. So lots of things happening among the online brokers, and this is always a popular special section that'll be coming out in late January. Yep, that's right. Looking forward to that one. And last but not least, let's take a look at the chart of Facebook, because those shares fell about 2.7% today in heavy turnover on news that the FTC is seeking an injunction on the way that Facebook is integrating its products or
the further integration of its products due to some antitrust concerns.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of apps like Messenger and Instagram and WhatsApp, and this is just related to, the antitrust concerns about Facebook and a lot of government scrutiny. So we'll see what comes of it. The market did not like this FTC news today. So Facebook, it was pretty a short-lived breakout over a 198.19 buy point. Looks like the stock closed at 196.75. So it's just below the buy point, but pretty heavy volume in Facebook today. Market did not like this news of a possible FTC injunction here.
Right. So for investors who did take advantage of that cup with handle breakout back in early to mid-November, it is now below that buy point. It's tested the buy range before on the low end. It's not yet in sell territory, but today's loss did come in heavy volume, and it's below its 21-day.
Yeah, and this was kind of a shaky buy, even when it did clear the 198 buy point. The breakout generally happened in pretty light volume, and it happened. We talk a lot about the relative strength line, and Facebook. Bottom line, it's a laggard stock, along with several other FANG stocks. So this was kind of a sketchy buy when it cleared the buy point, and big volume in the stock today to the downside. So there's a lot of stocks working in this market currently, and Facebook really isn't one of them.
Yes, lots of better options, which you could find out more about by either tuning into IBD Live or checking out Leaderboard. All right, everyone, that's it for today. But before we go, want to let you know we have a few quick announcements. A new episode of the Investing with IBD podcast is out now, and you can listen to that or watch by visiting investors.com/podcast. This week, we had hedge fund manager Jim Ropel return to the show, sharing some great insights. And we also have a webinar coming up all about trading strategies for the opening bell with our very own Ed Carson and David Chung, happening next week. So make sure you head to investors.com/webinar to sign up for that. And Ken, give us a little quick shout out about IBD Live and how that's all going.
Well, I think the webinar that David and Ed are going to handle will definitely be getting into IBD Live. We had another great show today. So IBD Live starts off every day just before the market at 9:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and we go for a little more than an hour just talking about actionable setups, what the news of the market is, and it's really just about it's a lot of education, but it's also giving a lot of actionable trading ideas as well.
Yeah, really detailed analysis of how to handle trades, getting really into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, we talked about Micron's breakout today, and also Advanced Micro Devices, a leaderboard stock, making a very bullish move today. And also just a quick shout out, 3 earnings reports we're watching after the close. We've got Broadcom, a semiconductor bellwether, Costco, and also Adobe. So 2 real high-profile tech stocks reporting after the close. We'll have a lot of coverage of that tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely be chatting about that tomorrow. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.